Hmm. Mm-hmm.
Through training, every worker must know the 5 basic steps of lockout procedure. 1. Identify the equipment or machine that needs to be locked out. 2. Ensure that the machine is stopped. 3. Identify and deactivate the main energy source. 4. Apply personal locks to the energy source. 5. Ensure that the lockout is effective. This basic 5-step procedure will always be followed when locking out. The most common energy source to which lockout must be applied is electrical. 2 types of wiring are common in equipment using electricity as an energy source: plugged-in equipment and equipment that is permanently connected or hardwired. When working on plugged-in equipment, such as a radial arm saw, the worker shuts off the saw, unplugs it, and places the plug in plain view. In this case, an application of a lock is not required, as the plug is under the worker's control. When working on hardwired equipment, identify the machine. Ensure that the machine is stopped. Look for the electrical source and disconnect it. If required, apply lockout and ensure de-energization is effective. 2 important points that must be followed if a start-stop test is used are: check all personnel are in the clear, and return the control to the off or neutral position. If an isolated control device is within sight and reach of a worker at all times during maintenance, a hazard assessment must be done. This determines if there is a risk to the worker and whether or not a lock must be applied to the control device. Interlocked systems have to be identified for lockout purposes. This is an example of an interlocking system. If conveyor number 3 is not running, conveyors number 2 and number 1 will not operate. If conveyor number 2 is not running, conveyor number 1 will not start, but number 3 can operate. If conveyor number 1 isn't running, conveyors 2 and 3 will operate. When testing a component of an interlocked system, either the interlock has to be satisfied or bypassed, or other means must be used to verify the control device has been disconnected. For example, if we wish to lock out number 2 conveyor, we complete the 5 lockout steps. However, to implement a true test, all downstream components must be operating, thus satisfying the interlock. Other common energy sources to be locked out are hydraulic or pneumatic systems. The same 5 steps are followed. For example, a cylinder which operates a drop gate. First, stop the machine. Look for the energy source and disconnect it. This can be accomplished in two ways. 1. Disconnect the electrical power to the pump or compressor. Or 2. Close the valve feeding that cylinder. Apply a personal lock to the electrical disconnect or the valve. Ensure de-energization is effective by testing that the pump of the compressor won't start or the flow doesn't bypass the valve. It may be necessary to pin or block a drop gate or a weight supported by the stored pressure in a cylinder. Ensure that there isn't any residual pressure in the lines, reservoirs, or accumulator feeding the cylinder. Workers may have to bleed any residual pressure.